Just welcome. For those who don't know, my name is Mary Waldron. I am the interim president of the Downtown Brockton Association. I'm also the executive director of the Old Colony Planning Council. We are property owners at 70 School Street at the corner of Montello and School. I want to say maybe perhaps we're ground zero in many ways, but I love the city that I live in. I love the city that I work in. So some ground rules, bathrooms, bedrooms are on this side, ladies' room, you go out that back door to the left. Again, we're gonna have some rules in front of the audience, but for all of us, the rules are gonna be respect. Respect for the positions you are in, respect for the diversity that we have here today, respect for the differences of opinions. I will not, this meeting will be shut down in a quick second if there is any disrespect and not following the rules. It's really important. I am a Brockton resident. I am not a native of Brockton. I married a guy from Brockton and have a beautiful daughter who's married and owns a home here in Brockton. That in itself provides me so much pride about the work that we do. I have been honored to be working over the last several months with the mayor, Councilor Thompson, and many of the other councilors and state legislators and stakeholders. It's a very sensitive and very vital issue for many, but homelessness is increasing. Mental health is increasing. Substance use is increasing. And I will dare anyone in this room to not have been affected by this. I have family members and or friends who have either lost members to these different illnesses. But we need to come together and have conversation and have, more importantly, action items. There'll be more to be talked about. But again, I need to first thank my staff. The Downtown Brockton Association does not have any income that or persons working for us. I beg them, but they willingly are here. So between Fournier and Elise Price, who put together the I also want to thank Brockton Public Library being here. This is the perfect location. You would never fit into my office. This would never have happened. And again, for all of you who are here as stakeholders and who are also as interested folks. So I'd like to turn this over to Mayor Sullivan. Can you pass this mic?
Thank you, Mary. Well, first of all, good evening and welcome here. And I want to thank Mr. Paul Engel, the director of the library, for hosting us tonight, his team. There's a lot of folks here tonight, and that speaks volumes to Brockton, right? I mean, you could be anywhere on a Wednesday night and you hear at the Lingo's auditorium. I want to thank Councilor Thompson. I want to thank Mary Waldron. I see Senator Mike Brady joining us as well. At the end of the day, what we need to do is we need to work together in collaboration, but we need to come up to try to solve problems together. I've said this many times, and I'll continue to say it, being mayor and not being mayor. We're in the people business, and right now, we have to help the homeless population and those being impacted and affected by drugs and alcohol mental health issues. With that being said, I'm joined today by Chief Brenda Perez, Chief Brian Nadelli, Pat Hill at DPW, Commissioner Tim Carpenter, Jasmine Bradshaw from my office is the Social Service Director, and John Medea, who's our Director of Constituent Services. I can tell you that the number one issue right now impacting us is the influx of people coming here, newer people coming here, living under the bridges, living in the core of the city. And with that being said, working with Father Bills and trying to find wraparound services and housing is, and that's what we need to do, right? We all grew up with the idea of a roof over our head. That's just what the idea of being a human being is all about. So we will not solve the issues tonight. We truly won't. We'd be naive to think that we would. But we need to come up with some plans, some stepping stones for success. Things that we're doing well right now, you'll hear about. We are doing things well. But also, myself and Brenda Perez met today in my office with DA Tim Cruz. And the district attorney has pledged that he wants to work with us in terms of going after any type of offense, any type of criminal matter. If you see someone urinating or defecating on the sidewalk, that's indecent and gross exposures. That's basically a level 3 sex offense. So we will continue to work with Brewster Ambulance, who is our provider. They pick up the needles in the city of Brockton, right? That's part of the contract. I am humbly asking and urging everybody, please do not take it upon yourself to pick up needles. With an uptick in fentanyl, wrapped around, heroin, wrapped around, cocaine, so please don't. And I have to deal with a gentleman every morning when I go to work at City Hall. I call Chief Brian Nardelli. I have a gentleman that sleeps on the steps every single night at City Hall. There's needles around him, and it's a scary proposition, for him, and for myself, because he is dealing with some mental behavioral health issues, there's no doubt about it. So tonight is the night that is long overdue. I want to thank the businesses. I was able to do a walking tour with Mary recently. I know Dom is here. I saw Dominic walk in here. I know Sandra is here. But I also know that I would be a naive individual if I didn't think there was a breaking point for people. Businesses saying the heck with Brockton, we're moving out of here. We can't afford that. We can't. So we need to make sure that we come up with protocols that are quality of life protocols, public safety protocols. But also, what I witness every day when I drive under the bridge are young children walking to the brook. Those boys and girls shouldn't be seeing that. I didn't see that when I walked to school in Brockton. So I'm here today to listen and learn. You have to be a listener to be a leader. But there are a lot of really educated folks, much smarter than me here. We have health clinicians. We have people that are dealing with homelessness. There's a lot of firefighters here. Father Matt's here from the Tri-Parish. So I am going to answer any questions that I can. Our city solicitor and attorney Verdi are here because there are a lot of legal issues tied into this. But let me just be awfully clear about this. I am never going to kick someone down that's down already. I just won't do it. I'm the mayor of everybody in Brockton, those that have a house and those that don't have a house. So let's come up with some plans that are going to impact and benefit the lives of those people and try to give them the recipes to success that they all deserve, that we all deserve as human beings. So I do want to thank Jeff Thompson. He's been a true advocate and a true partner in this. So Councilor.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Thompson, and I am Brockton's Ward 5 City Councilor. I want to thank Mary Waldron and the Downtown Business Association for organizing this event, and Mayor Sullivan and all of our city department heads and our partner organizations for just coming here tonight to discuss this extremely important topic. To be blunt, the state of our downtown is in crisis. Now, it's important to acknowledge the fear and the frustration people have when they come visit our downtown. The open drug use, the violence under our bridges, the encampments in our parks, the aggressive panhandling, and the general dirtiness of our downtown. Our downtown residents and our business owners are overwhelmed, and they are begging for our help. Now, over the past few months, I've been trying to educate myself on the issues of homelessness, mental health, and substance abuse. The lack of affordable housing, the closing of our mental health hospitals, and the overprescription of opioids, and the pandemic lockdowns have all created a tsunami that is currently washing over our city and other urban communities like Brockton. Now, we did not create this mess, but as elected officials, we are tasked with the responsibility of charting a path forward. Now, as the mayor said, we're not going to come and solve this problem overnight, but we must put forth common sense policies that address the problem both in the short term and the long term. And I want to be a part of that solution. So as the downtown city councilor, I will sponsor and support any order or appropriation or ordinance that will help improve the current situation downtown. Now, I know our city is facing challenging times, but I also know that the good people at this table and in this room can work together to find that path forward. I'm confident that can happen. And over the next 2 years, it's gonna be, it's really gonna be my main priority. So thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I'm looking forward to the discussion, and, I look forward to continuing discussion, as we move forward and find solutions to this problem. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Counselor. There are a few seats up here if anybody would like. These are stakeholder seats. Come up to the table if you like. We are on time, actually 3 minutes ahead of time, which will give me a chance. For those who may or may not have seen, there's been a SWOT analysis of strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And I'm not going to go through all of them tonight because I really do think that this part is really important. There are so many good things that are happening in downtown, and when I go downtown, I'm in conversations with Campbell and Montel Business Association, along with the Greater Brockton Minority Business Association. We are pretty solid about making sure we're sharing information. But there are some incredible strengths in downtown. Its history, walkability, the current businesses, Elvira's, Joanne Shalo's, there are other businesses, and I know Ted Carmen has come in here. The residents, if anybody hasn't seen those, the downtown residents, access to healthcare with the neighborhood health center, farmers market, right? There's all these great things. And there certainly are going to be, some of the weaknesses in the wage committee, but we need to stop for a second. There was close to 200 people that took this analysis, so it's a very strong basis. In terms of pavement, sorry, Pat, the pavement that you're working on, this is the thing though, that's progress. When you see the construction and things, the roads that are being taken under, that's because there's gas lines and there's sewer lines, all the things that are important if we're going to be bringing more people to downtown. So some of the weaknesses and, needles and drugs and bad lighting and yada, yada, yada. We all know that. I'm not gonna spend time on that. The threats, I'm just gonna do a couple highlights. I'm sorry, I'm going all over Megan. There are things, the drugs and the homelessness issue, not enough businesses, limited resources for parking, mental health, things, etc. But, there are opportunities, and that's what we're about today. The business improvement district, and I've been working with the city planner, the mayor's office, the counselors, businesses about forming a business improvement district. Not enough time to talk about it today, but it's the potential of a resource where the property owners in downtown assess themselves and raise funds. That's not on necessarily the taxpayer's dollar. Public bathrooms and beautification. I know that there's a beautification program by the committee and the city and working with others. The artwork, it is that, the artwork that the city planning office and the city's been working on, that's just starting to be initiated. Bicycle connections, the MBTA, again, there's these opportunities. Way too many investments that have been made, human capital. So if you haven't had to take a look at that, it will be on the DBA website. All of this information, there's a dedication to today's meeting, but also the strength. We're going to be looking for ways as we continue through the DBA to work with the government and counselors and businesses to move these tasks. So next on the agenda, we're talking about what has happened in the past and what's currently being done. And I believe that I'm going to turn this over to the mayor and maybe to Jasmine to talk about what's going on. And then I know some of the department heads, and then I go to the various organizations, Father Bills and BAMSI and Brockton Neighborhood Health Centers to talk about what they're doing.
I do actually also want to thank Pastor Roberto, who's here. I know Dr. Wire, Pastor Wire is going to be here as well, that help our homeless population. So if you don't know Jasmine Bradshaw, first of all, you're missing an opportunity to be a great person, but she started her career, she's a licensed social worker, her master's degree. She worked at Father Bill's Mainspring. The mayor's office used to have Corin Capiello, the social services director. Corin went over to the schools, and I was very fortunate to be able to get Jasmine to come and work in our office. Little did she know we'd be dealing with the ramifications of the pandemic and now an uptick of TB in Brockton, but also the homeless population. So I'm going to pass it over to her because she works with all of these people every single day. But more importantly, she's out there walking the streets and talking and listening and learning. So Jasmine Bradshaw.
Good evening, everybody.
I want to say thank you to everybody that came out tonight. I know this isn't the way everyone would like to spend their time, but this is a very important issue and something that I address every single day. So your investment in that is appreciated very greatly. To start with things that we have done in the past, we have been working on initiatives to clear encampments out of our park. But the second we were informed that there were some concerns with that legally, we halted and changed the way we were addressing that to a more humane approach. So instead of moving people, we would ask them if they were willing to relocate. If they would take shelter, they are able to, but we would still work with them on resources, and all of these different agencies that are at this table today were part of that process. All of us conduct outreach, whether it's together or in singular groups, depending upon availability, on a daily basis. And that includes resources, supplies, whatever people might need to be able to survive. Additional things that we're doing is our office has resource packets that are individualized to the specific needs that people might have. And we provide those to anyone that comes in, whether they're coming from the street or not. But we also bring those to people if they are not comfortable coming to us. A lot of our work is meeting people where they are at. So if that is outside, then we will go to them. But a lot of what we've done has had to shift to a different approach with some of the laws that are coming up. And I'm not going to speak directly to those. It's not something that I specialize in. But a big part of what we're trying to do is be as humane as possible and making sure that people are getting the things that they need to survive, especially with the changes that are also taking place within the availability of our shelter system currently. And that includes having to be very creative and innovative with the things that we're implementing and the different strategies that we have. So we do have a lot of ideas, but having your input would be great, because just because I do this on a daily basis doesn't mean I understand the things that all of you are seeing. Some of the thoughts that we've had is whether or not it'd be appropriate to have one place for all of our encampments to be, finding ways to safely relocate people off of school property to more appropriate areas so that children aren't being exposed to things that they shouldn't be on a daily basis. There are flyers that were given out with resources for non-emergency police, fire, the mayor's office, and then resources that will help if there's needles around that you can call to have them picked up so that you don't have to take care of that. But in addition, I go out with our inspectional services department on a regular basis, and we're addressing unsafe apartments for people, because that is something else that's creating an impact in our homeless totals right now. So we are seeing apartments not being taken care of, and that is adding to our population. So those are things that we can address on the short term. Those are things that we want to take care of now before they get worse. But in the long term, we have a lot of ideas as far as keeping under all of the bridges clean and working with the MBTA to make sure that the way we do so is humane and the people staying there are relocated rather than just told to find somewhere else to go. In addition to making sure that anyone outside is being given the supplies they need, as well as regular wellness checks to ensure their health and safety. We're expecting a not so great winter. So you'll see us out and about a lot. We'll answer any of your questions, but we'll be there to make sure that everyone is all right. And that means that not just our homeless population, but anyone else can feel free to stop us as well if they have questions.
Just one thing, that Jasmine said, that I hadn't known this until I became mayor. You just assume that under the bridges is the sidewalk and it's owned by the city of Brockton, right? But it's not. It's owned by the Commonwealth. It's MBTA property because it actually is part of the train tracks. So we'll work with MBTA. We also instituted, if anybody happened to watch the State of the City address last year, we instituted a Clean City initiative. And some people say, well, that's just words, but it's really not, because every Monday and Friday I meet in my office at 8:30 with Pat Hill, who's our DPW commissioner. He's got 3 street sweepers that go out every single day. They do it in quadrants around the city of Brockton. I've charged him to make sure that you clean under the bridges. We put trash barrels there. Some of the folks there actually are utilizing the trash barrel. Tim Carpenter, who is our parks commissioner, he's charged with cleaning all the parks, not just DW, any of the parks or parklets in the city of Brockton. We are having some residents living in some of these parks. So Tim is out there. He is charged with Perkins Park, which again has become a big issue next to Father Bill's basement, right? A lot of those mainsprings are gonna be leaving in about 2 years to go up to Manley Street, so we just have to be a little patient with that, but Perkins Park is gonna be reimagined and revitalized at that time. And then the last person that is involved in this is Jim, Plouffe, who is the, building commissioner for the city of Brockton. So he is charged with all of the grounds that are city-owned assets. So I just wanted to reiterate again, because I did not know that until just recently, that the MBTA literally owns underneath those. Now, they want to work with us. Jeff's been a great advocate working, and John has. But we are trying to work with the Commonwealth, with the delegation, who's been great, Senator and the three reps.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I'm gonna pass this on to Chief Perez, and then, other from the department, then we're gonna go to, others on this side. While we are doing this, I know that we have folks, we have to admit somebody. There are folks who are joining, us online, and I just want to recognize, I believe when we get a chance, we can take the agenda and then maybe have them, we can maybe do that.
Can everybody hear back there too?
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to address all of you. As the police chief, I understand the importance of addressing these issues and ensuring a safe and vibrant community for residents, for all residents and businesses. The issues we're discussing today are complex and multifaceted with many underlying causes, economic hardship, mental health challenges, and addiction. And it requires collaborative effort, and that's what we're hoping to do here today. For our part, I'd like to provide some insight as to what the Brockton Police Department is currently doing and will continue to do to address these challenges. We currently have walk-in beats, bike beats, and link-up shifts to Campolo, Montello, and the downtown area. Our link-up shifts is a two-prong approach where it's outreach and target targeting. Our outreach approach as a recovery coach with an officer go out. Basically, can everybody hear me? All right. So goes out partners with an officer or a recovery coach to address quality of life issues and also to outreach to people who suffer from substance abuse disorders and help them with resources and assist individuals to get to those resources. We also have, as part of Link Up, we had purchased 450 lights. 100, and I'll let Pat talk about that, 100 of which have been installed, and we still have 352 installed. So we have that. We also have directed patrols to Goddard Road, White Ave, Perkins Park, and the School Street Bridge. The Brockton Police Department also has full-time clinicians. We have one full-time clinician, one part-time clinician. They're out there. They answer calls for service for anybody who presents with a behavioral or mental health issues, again, to try to get them the resources and the assistance that they need. We also have under review by the law department, the road safety ordinance that is currently under review, and I'll let the solicitor speak to that. So those are some of the things that we are currently doing, and we're here to basically address any and all issues as far as law enforcement is concerned that we are able to. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brian Idelli. I'm the fire chief here in the city. I think to the mayor's point, I'm a lifelong resident. I'm proud of the city every day, and I think, especially in the downtown area with everything that's been going on, your department breaks. And I think, some of the situations we're handling, just like Councilor Thompson said, these are not specific to Brockton. I talk to fire chiefs all over the Commonwealth on a regular basis, and they're all addressing the same issues. One of the things I can speak to an extent is Bruce Randall, who's the contract handler with the city of Brockton, years ago, I want to say back in 2012, 13, they were able to, when they worked out their contract, they stated that they'll be able to pick up needles. So what ends up happening is if there's an issue with the needle pickup or anything like that throughout the city, I know the DPW doesn't do it as well. And the off hours, if someone finds something, I've got calls from the mayor in the morning, we will get in touch with Bruce after, someone calls from our fire alarm office. You're not to be calling Bruce directly, because a lot of times they're unaware of that. So if you call our 583-2323 numbers to our fire alarm operator, they make sure that happens. So like, as far as statistics go, some of the things we've been seeing, like I said, I've been here my entire life. I not only worked as a firefighter, I worked in EMS prior to my career in the fire service. And part of that was I worked for an ambulance provider that was prior to Luther. And we've always dealt with a population in the city that's been in the situation we're in now. What it appears though, when you're speaking to some of our firefighters here, and speaking to them, one of the things we're dealing with more now is more of an aggressive nature. Where there was more of an olive branch out there to try to help these folks. That's not always necessarily the case with us, with the EMS crews, I'm sure with the police officers as well. And I don't know what the specifics are behind that, whether it be, obviously mental health, drug addiction issues. I can't speak to that, but some of the statistics I can give you, when we look at the numbers in our first fire district, and that's how we have the city laid out in fire service, is the downtown area. A lot of what your downtown business area is. Since May 1st of 2023, we've responded to 25 overdoses, 30 medicals overall. We've also had some fires, debris fires, whether they were, now this is only again, this does not include the parks, one of them being a car fire the other day. Our personnel are out there every day, and obviously sometimes these folks don't want to go to the hospital. One of the things we've run into over the years is a concern, and anyone who understands a little background in opioids, like I'm sure a lot of people in this room that work with these folks every day, is this opioid lasts in this system a lot longer, especially with what is being mixed with nowadays. When I worked in EMS, we give one shot of Narcan, and that was it. We moved on to get it to the hospital and people take care of. One of the more difficult things that we're running into now is we'll give them 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shots of Narcan, and they're difficult to rouse, difficult to get back breathing. And then if they do, they don't want to go to the hospital. We all know what the healthcare situation is on the South Shore right now with all the closures of hospitals. But that opioid will back into the hemoglobin and take over the body again once the Narcan wears off. So that's a huge concern about they could be overdose after we've even left the scene if they don't want to go. But the problem being with that is that we have to both last week that once they're conscious alert and oriented, occurred in place and time, we cannot take them if they don't want to go. That does not matter if they overdose or not. So it puts us in a very precarious position. It puts our crews in a very precarious position, whether the firefighters or the EMS providers that arrive from the booster. So that's where we stand. Those are the efforts that we've put forward thus far. That's what we're addressing on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. So.
You're welcome.
I'm happy to talk about how's everybody doing, as well as the DPW commissioner. I think my role in, as the mayor has talked about a little bit, is we've been involved with this Clean City initiative. The DPW's role in this whole situation is to try to keep downtown as clean as possible. We do handle a lot of the cleanups that are involved in the sidewalk areas, all the things involved in the streets. We handle all the street lighting issues that occur all throughout the city. And we try to, maintain a relationship with these people downtown, because, a lot of times the people that are cleaning up after these people, we get a lot of slack. So we try to be cognizant of these people, and their feelings. So we do the best we can with what we have. And if people have problems, we try to work with business owners and, with cleanups, whether it be on private property, we have people on private property pull us up onto the public property, or we work with them to get removed, as much as we can. But it's a difficult situation, and we meet on it, 2-3 times a week, and we're just trying to do the best we can.
Thank you, Pat. I just want to recognize those that you now are able to see. We have Montello Business Association, Metro South Chamber of Commerce, and a number of other folks just appreciate for you, Mintron from the district attorney's office is on as well. I am going to turn it over to the side, and then John, from Father Bill's, and we're going to go talk to the Neighborhood Health Center and then families. So, right to it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. John Yaswinski, Father Bill's in Mainspring. Thank you for having us tonight, Mayor, Mary. So as everybody said here, we're all seeing more encampments, more people since COVID, no matter what community you are, not just in Massachusetts, but in the country right now, people struggling with homelessness. A little bit of the history, at least, what we've seen. I've been at Father Bill's in Mainspring, part of the Mainspring side since 2007, so part on the Brockton side. There was a tent city here in the city for over 20 plus years. The CSX railroad property for a long time, longer than actually Mainspring House was here. And it was probably over 30 to 40 individuals living out there. So we've had people sleeping outside in the Brockton community for 30 to 40 plus years. Now, I understand past administration decided to level that campsite for liability and safety concerns. But what that did do is that spread out to a group of people that we used to outreach that were hidden. And I think we're still seeing that, plus the COVID, for a lot of people during COVID, no matter if you were struggling with homelessness or you're struggling with an addiction or mental health issues during COVID, you weren't getting treatment because everything shut down. And we are now seeing a major increase of mental health and substance use, physical, medical issues that are just getting dealt with now that we're catching up with. We have a broken mental health and substance use system in the Commonwealth. It's broken. And it's easy, and we'll take it tonight, it's easy to blame a lot of the providers that every day from our community and our employees and our volunteers and our public safety officials and our officials here, city officials, to blame us. But I can tell you, as a regional provider, throughout southeastern Mass, is what I can say, and I really appreciate the Brockton community with the leadership we have here. This great communication. We are working together. This is a daunting issue, but it's bigger than a homeless issue. Homelessness issue is the final result of not dealing with the mental health and substance use issues and the housing issues that need to be dealt with. So we are the safety net. Father Bill's in Mainspring. We now, things that we're moving forward with is, as the mayor has said, and we really appreciate the political support of the mayor, city council, the delegation. I know Senator Brady is here, as the leader, is to move Mainspring House out of downtown Brockton. And moving it out will help. What we're excited about when it goes over to closer to the VA campus on Manley Street is we're reinventing what we're going to do. It's not going to be a nighttime shelter. It's going to be 24/7. It's going to be about prevention, diverting, and rapidly rehousing people. It's also going to be keeping people so they don't leave during the day. We can't force people to stay, but we're going to allow people to stay so they don't have to roam through the community. We are in the library today. Libraries across this country are the day programs for homeless people. So Father Bill's in Mainspring is stepping up and saying, we will keep people and give them that opportunity to stay with us. We are here for the business community, our neighbors, business leaders, our civic leaders, and our political leaders to just be part of the conversation, be part of the solution. We want a vibrant community. Our employees live in this community. volunteers are from here. There's a great group of people here. There's Ramsey, there's Brockton Neighborhood Health Services, and so many other people. We're also very willing to see and look at, as an organization, but as a city, let's look at best practices across this country. There is more Brockton in this country than there are Bostons. We need to worry about Brockton. And we need to think about what we can do and not point fingers at each other. How do we deal with the mental health and substance use issues? So housing works. I'm a housing advocate. We take people, we have 700 plus units of housing. People think of Father Bill's and Mainspring as Mainspring shelter. We have over 700 units of housing in our inventory. Our housing is only for the chronic homeless individual or family. And when I say chronic homeless, that's the person that struggles the most with substance abuse, mental health, physical or behavioral health disabilities. That's the most difficult person. 70% of the people that come to Mainspring House just stay with us for a few days, a few weeks, a few months. They get on their feet, they go into treatment, or they get back into their family, they get a job, they move on. There is a core group of 30 to 40% of the people that we see that we're probably thinking about tonight. That is the chronic person. That when we had 8 state hospitals, mental health institutions in the 70s and the 80s, and many of us were around then, you of us probably in this room don't remember that. That was over 20,000 housing units, as bad as it was. We're down to 2 state hospitals, and we're down to 800 beds. And we never, as a state, produced the housing for that population. We still have the need to take care of each other. Our fastest growing population at Father Bill's and Mainspring is 60 and over. Big thing though, elderly, disabled people. It's a national issue. It's not just our issue here. So I just hope as we progress, we move forward, we can do it together. We have established things going forward is, as the mayor said, we're excited about moving Mainspring out of downtown and creating a 24/7 housing resource center that will be a shelter on Manley Street, but also will focus on those interventions as I've talked about. We also got the state to invest in a street outreach program that we just implemented a year or 2 ago because we saw the growth and the state thankfully gave us some money. So with that, I'll wrap up my comments. I'm going to turn it over to John Lanham, our Chief Operating Officer, that can speak briefly about what our team is seeing, what we're doing outside, and how we're coordinating with each other.
And John,
Thank you.
if you can just be, first of all, we are running behind schedule, but important comments. So if we could be pointed, and then we're going to have Allison to speak next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be very brief. John covered most of, the good work that's happening. Just so you know, we currently have 2 full-time outreach workers that are going out with Brockton Health and with Fancy, with Jasmine, with all the other providers, including Pastor Roberto and Judy and their crew. We have this group that works collaboratively to really look at what are the resources that each group can bring to the individuals that are staying outside. We like to look at it from housing and case management, and we know there are medical providers, farm production providers, other people that do the work much better than we can. So I think one of the great things about Brockton is the agencies work really closely together to say, what do you do really well, what do we do well, and making sure we're not duplicating those efforts. Currently tonight, at Mainspring House, I know we're talking about the candidates, people staying outside, but just in terms of numbers, Mainspring House is also incredibly full. We have been seeing much higher numbers than we have, over the past year. We are currently probably gonna have 130 people staying at the shelter tonight. That means probably 15 to 20 people will actually be sitting on mats on the floor because we run out of beds. We've been in these numbers since the springtime. Normally, these are the numbers we're at in winter, and we expect it to be a tough winter. We know there's people that are currently staying outside that are going to come to the shelter. We will welcome them in, we'll make space for them, make sure we're continuing to provide what's needed for individuals to be safe. But we're seeing these numbers increase across the state. As we talk to other state providers, we're hearing about their increases. We're getting a lot more calls from communities we never heard from in our region. Abington, Brockton, Middleborough, and Stoughton have all called Father Bill and Main Springs outreach teams in the past couple of weeks to say, we're seeing more people staying outside. How can you engage with us? So while we know like this meeting about downtown Brockton, like this is a statewide trend that we're seeing, and something providers are really trying to figure out what is the best response, how do we get people into housing as fast as possible, and make sure we're connected to individuals.
Everyone, good evening. My name is Allison Pingover. I'm the Director of Substance Use Services at Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. So that means that I supervise all of our programs that provide substance use treatment, harm reduction services, as well as medical services to people who are experiencing homelessness. I'm here tonight with our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Joe Canary-Langer, and our Director of Social Services, Maria Cancel. Mary says we're running behind schedule, and it would probably take me another 30 minutes to tell you about all the different medical and behavioral health services that we offer at the health center, because it's a lot. We serve more than 37,000 patients a year, so we're providing a lot of medical and behavioral health services in the community. So some of the ones we were going to highlight tonight focus on how we're supporting downtown, right? So obviously our main site is here downtown, but we also have a clinic that is located in Main Spring House, small, one exam room, a full-time nurse practitioner who's there to serve residents of the shelter and people who are otherwise unhoused to make sure that they get medical care, that they're linked into behavioral health care and get treatment for their substance use disorders. In 2021, we also started a mobile program. You might see us wheeling a very large trailer around the city. It's really fun on some of the 90 streets. But it's a mobile program that serves people who are still struggling with their substance use, who are in need of on-demand medical care. So that means I have a wound, it's starting to look not so great. I'm gonna get you antibiotics right now. Hey, I'm ready for treatment today. That's great. We're gonna start right now. So making sure that people really get what they need when they're ready, because we know that people get better. We see it every single day. And so I think that that really keeps us going. I think we know there's a lot going on in downtown, and we want to be supporters of the people who are here. The 3 people who are sitting here tonight are also 3 of the people who set up your large scale COVID testing site during COVID. And so I say that like we've been in this fight for a really long time. We're tired. We were a little tired. But we were doing it before COVID, we were doing it during COVID, and we're doing it now because we care. We probably care a little bit too much. And we're here because we value the partnership we have with Father Bill. We value the partnership we have with the city, with the Hope Center, with all of the different departments in the city. We really want to be able to bring the expertise we have in medical and behavioral health care into how we address this in the city. We want to make sure that the strategies that we use keep people alive, that it improves their health, and that they work, that they promote health, they promote safety, and that they work for the community. And that's the expertise I think the 3 of us are hoping to bring to this, to say, it's easy to throw a lot of ideas around, it's easy to say, we're going to do this. But sometimes, we go back, we get nerdy, we look at the facts, and we're like, how does that one work sometimes? Maybe let's try this. And so we really want to be a part of this conversation and to bring some solutions forward. Mary so kindly said to remind everyone that a lot of what we do is street outreach. If there are people who are outside and someone from the mobile team needs to go and check on them, or you even just have questions, I think we're here to support, because there's a lot of things that are unknown. So I heard the fire chief talking about fentanyl. Fentanyl actually doesn't last as long as other opioids. It means you have to inject more often, more times a day. That's more syringes, right? So that means that we adapt the services that we provide. And so I think having the kinds of conversations like that help us bring forward solutions that work. So just ask the question, because I think I've heard people say, oh, well, how many syringes a day does someone need? And sometimes someone tells me 1. It's not 1. It's many more than 1, right? And so just being able to have really honest conversations so that we understand what some of our most vulnerable community members are going through and how we work together to solve some of those problems. So we've been in the fight, we're here to stay in the fight, we're here with you, and we're tired, but we're gonna stay here. So I don't want to take too much of Mary's time. I know the Hope Center has some comments as well, but thank you for having us.
appreciate you put a lot of information, Allison, and, we'll be getting to more. So Mary, you are on this. Good evening, my name is Mary Corlin. I am the Director of Farm Production Services for BMC. I oversee the Coke Center up on Pleasant Street. It is a farm production center. I am accompanied by our VP, Jessica Almeida. Again, as Allison said, it would take quite a while to run through all of the services we provide, but I will give you a quick rundown. There have been 55,000 plus people that have received family services each year. The Coke Center has been open for many years, changed close to 2 decades actually. But since we went back to July 2022, because that's when our fiscal year starts. Since then, we've collected 170,600 syringes. We have had 5,600 service encounters, so that's people walking in our door for different things. 1,617 unique individuals. 543 tests, HIV, hepatitis C, and FDI tests, and close to 3,000 doses of Narcan provided, along with overdose prevention training and education. We provided 73 referrals to substance use treatment by our full-time case managers. We provide street outreach, wound care, referrals to medical care, including HIV and hepatitis B treatment. Our syringe services include disposal and education, so we go out on street outreach. It used to be once a week, we would go out, once a day. We branched that up to twice a week. We have a very small team of about 5 staff members. We need 2 in-house to operate, and at least 2 for safety reasons to go out into the community. But we are doing it at least twice a week now. We also provide items such as coats, shoes, blankets, socks, hygiene supplies, hygiene products, blankets, things that can be very life-saving. I know it may just seem like a coat or some warm clothes, but we've had our participants have lost limbs due to frostbite during the winter. So when we give out blankets and tents, some people may not see that as a life-saving item. But when those tents or blankets are taken away, people can lose limbs, people can die, those are life-saving items. We build relationships with our participants every day. We see them Monday through Friday, they come in our door, they talk to us about their lives, what's going on. We try to provide services for, anything that they need. But our main focus is keeping them alive and as safe as possible. I am also a lifelong Brockton resident, and I'm very proud to be one. I am also a person in recovery and a person that has experienced homelessness myself. And Mary asked me to keep it short, so I will, but in closing, I just want to say that as a person that has experienced some of these things, I would suggest that we look towards adding more services like these and not take away any of stuff. That's it. Thank you.
So I just also wanted to say, this is not this side versus this side. It really, I said that in the middle, because I've had a chance to be on all sides and have a conversation. I don't know for those of you who are sitting, particularly in the audience, if this is the first time you're hearing about the things that have been going on.
that I have been hearing, and I think that's when I hear it, sometimes I'm not able to translate it to a property owner, but to Mary and to Alice and to John and John, I mean, it is the work that you do along with Jasmine side by side, along with Lieutenant Lyman from the police department. I know the city council, the mayor, and the police department has gone from a part-time to a full-time for mental health services. So I'm gonna keep this up because I've been not focusing, but I didn't wanna, diminish what you were all saying, what it is really important. We are now gonna be heading into stakeholders, to have you come up to the podium. I'm gonna let, Brockton Community Access to move there. Thank you for being here, Brockton Community Access. Thank you. So, stakeholders. If you are a property owner, it doesn't matter, if you're anybody that's here, we're gonna need to keep you just for a minute. And we'll give a little attitude that if you go up to the mic, the top mic is the one for the system, the bottom belongs to Brockton Community Access. But come up to the mic if this is open to hear from anyone. Stand in line if you want to queue yourself up, but introduce yourself. And thank you. I will be serving as a clock.
My name is Raymond Lethbridge. I came here 4 years ago because my mother got sick and I became her caregiver. And when I came here, I didn't know that we had so many problems. I'm not a judge, I'm not judging Mr. Doctor. But I knew we had problems. I knew Brockton had a problem. I heard it from Boston. But I accepted the challenge to come over here and take care of my mother. I don't do drugs. I did 15 years in prison. But when I came in, I seen the problem that they had, and it wasn't me. I didn't want to get involved with it. I knew I was going to I wanted to become helpful to them because I've been through so much. But when I came here, I fell in love with it. The people, even though they was, they had addictions and all that, I just gravitated because I've been through that in the 80s. I'm 55 years old. I've been through I did the drugs, the alcohol, all that. But I know that I had to accept the challenge to come here, you know what I'm saying, and introduce myself. And that's what I've been doing. I've been to the church. I've been to Father Bill. I got kicked out of Father Bill. No, because it's my stupidity. You know what I'm saying? I don't blame Father Bill. Nice place. But I fell in love with the city. I'm not going nowhere. I met a girl, Carrie right there, and she's the one that's keeping me here because she loves it here. I'm not a bad man here. I love the people. The leaders, they're great. I've been involved with Stairway. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna get it. I'm staying away from the drug. But I think I could, the people see, I walk around and I respect them. They talk to me, they don't enter, they don't, tell me do I want drugs or nothing like that. They see that I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying? I want them to follow my example. I did 15 years, I did 10 years before that, I was a bad boy. I did my dirt, you know what I'm saying? But when they see me, they see me, keeping my head up high. And I got some people stop doing drugs, stop drinking. And I've been to Father Bill, I slept there, they was a good host. And I hope I was a good guest, I treated them well, as they treated me well. But I love Brockton. My name is Raymond Lethbridge.
I got 60 seconds. I can sing the ship in 60 seconds. My name is Steve Abrams, adopted by the city of Brockton. When their eyes were watching God, this city was helping me raise my children. When their eyes were watching God, we all came out of our silos and came together. I questioned, when I travel throughout the city, I'm a therapist facilitator at the VA hospital, pro bono. I do group therapy, art therapy on the cuff. One thing, I went to a Metro South Bridgewater Chambers of Commerce meeting, and they was attracting people to come live there. And my concern is, my children came across the bridge of this education system. The bridge is now burning on both sides. They have professional jobs, they went to college, but they live in Bridgewater. They attracted them to bring them here. So when their eyes was watching God, what was we doing? We had the kids' road race, we had the soccer leagues, we had the summer school program, summer reading program. That's us. We had that. We had that. We came out of our silo and we came together to help our children. Now, it's war ready because of the drugs, because of infestation. I survived crack. Hakeem Jeffrey stood on the House Congress and he said he survived the crack epidemic. So we understand what addiction is and what it does to a city, and what it does to an infrastructure. But we all came out of our silos because our eyes was watching God. So I want to just thank everybody that's doing the work. My daughter came at a Pope. She used to do the patrol, Eden Abrams. She came and working through the system there and fearless because her eyes was watching God. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cynthia Pendergast, and I'm going to first talk about how proud I am to be a Brockton resident. I took a chance on Brockton almost 40 years ago. When I got to the city, I knew there was work to do. And I knew that I couldn't do it alone, but if I did my part, guess what? That's what it takes. It takes partnership. And so I started working with youth, and I started to get involved back then with my church and just any way I could, worked with the Boy Scouts and all these different groups. And then fast forward, I started to work for NeighborWorks Housing Solutions. And so we're downtown. My office is downtown. I work on Frederick Douglass, and I'm volunteer at the park, and I see everything, right? I talk to the people that pass by, the ones that are homeless that say, thank you, you know, and how can we help? And, you know, we live in a city, there's work to do, right? So NeighborWorks works with Pleasantville's Main Street. We create housing. We built 121 Main. We're working on, we built senior housing, all different things. So guess what? We're doing it. We're willing to partner. But me as an individual, I'm gonna champion Brockton. Because guess what? Struggle wants to look for blame, right? And when I see that, I say that is not productive. So what we wanna do is look how we can partner. Because that's how any work that we're gonna do to make the city better is gonna happen. We've gotta partner with each other. And so let's look for solutions. Let's celebrate the partnerships. But let's look for the bright spots in our city, right? How can we make it better? Yes, we have people in our city that are struggling, and we have to treat them with compassion. They are somebody's daughter, they're somebody's son. There might be somebody, they're a parent, right? We don't know how they got to where they are. But guess what? What does love look like? Love your neighbor. What does that look like? That's what we gotta ask ourselves.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Josie Towser. I'm a peer specialist, recovery coach. I live here, lived on White Ave for like 7 years. I've been clean from heroin for 8. So I worked with the Gandara Center for a little bit. And I was on the street in my neighborhood because White Ave, I lived across the street in the house. So this is my neighborhood. These are my friends. I've known them for years. That's my recovery coach right there. These are my providers right here. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Seriously, Moms to Care, Brockton Neighborhood Health Center did best. So I was out in the field on foot every single day. So the problem we're having right now, haven't heard spoken about, is xylazine. So we were speaking about the overdoses and how it takes so many to bring them back. And then they won't respond even when you do bring them back. So you'll give them a bunch of Narcan, their breathing will regulate, but they won't, and their eyes will be open, but they will not respond. They're unresponsive, and that's the xylazine. It's a horse tranquilizer. What that does is it creates holes in their skin. I have pictures, I have videos, they're holes like crocodile, gaping holes down to the bone, the muscle. One of my kids had an artery, down to the femoral artery, a hole, they're ulcers, they're skin ulcers. So we're having a huge problem with that out on the street right now. So because of that, they can't take care of themselves as much. They can't go up to the Coke Center anymore. They can't go up the street no more. They can't get food for themselves anymore. They can't even make it to the champion plan anymore. So like, the need for people like Callie, she's on the trailer. She's the one on the trailer. Callie, she's the one out there with me. We were out there, not together. We don't work together. But like people like, oh my God, I just forgot what I was saying. What was I saying? Outreach. Oh yeah. So that's where I like to be. I like to be out there, like, with these people, they're my friends, everything's getting harder. Everything's more expensive, homelessness is, so it's really expensive to be homeless, actually, by the way. Like super expensive, and like it's getting cold fast and like we need supplies and stuff like that, so. I mean, I'm not exactly sure who I'm talking to, but like, because we're trying to share information that I saw while I was out there. Also, like, I hear people say a lot of the times, like, the people who wanna go versus the people who don't wanna go. And like, I have a problem with that in particular because, like, these people are so sick that, like, the thought of getting help is painful. Like, the depression is so deep, because you have to lower yourself so deep when you're homeless, like, you have to, like, almost become uncivilized and think of yourself as less than other people, so you end up getting wicked depressed, and that's wicked hard to get out of. You don't have energy, it's hard to think, it's hard to concentrate, make good decisions and make good judgments. So like, they are very sick, so they don't wanna live like that, but just because they say they don't wanna go right now, doesn't mean they don't deserve a better quality of life. That's what I'm thinking. People like me, people like Callie, I didn't even know about the building outreach, like,
We have a couple seconds left.
We need to have a outreach, that's all I'm saying.
Good evening, I'm Archie Jordan. I was listening to some of the folks in here. This gentleman here, they was talking about the state, mental health places. It was crazy, they wanted to save a couple of dollars, and look what's happened over all these years. Department, somebody said DPW downtown clean. We don't want to forget the rest of the city, then it ends up looking like downtown. But my thing is solutions. We get a city, let's make it a big experiment for people. You get a lot of companies that like to talk about their products. Contact the companies, your tents, your sleeping bags, your this, your that, the other that we can use. Some places, school places, or city lots at night, people who have to live in their cars, excuse me, they go in there, be safe, because there's somebody in there that's gonna watch them. They got no place to go, being on the streets doesn't make sense. We ask these companies to do certain things, and they can use us as part of their advertisement. This is what we did. Somewhere here in this United States, every problem we've had or have, somebody's come up with a solution. You have to contact people nationwide to find out what they did, make it work for us. It's that simple. It takes time, but we always sit around doing, what we gonna do? You know, can't do that. We need to do these things now. Winter's coming on. We watched what happened over on the vineyard. They brought in, what was it, 50 people, whatever it was. What did they threw them down in the, on the Cape in the military base down there. In a month, they found places for them to go. We could do it again, take our people, put them down there, then they'll find a place for. So I mean, anything that we can do, we've got the different places within the city and the state that do certain things. Some of it, we only use them when it's a real big problem, but this is a problem. Contact them, tell them to come in, help us, that's it. See you later.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you? My name is Jed. I live across from so I live in the Soco Lofts, and I'm also a condo trustee there, so I represent 64 other unit owners there. I would say in a few points. One, I used to be a youth outreach worker in Boston, so and I really love what the outreach folks here have to say, and there's so much wisdom here. And I watched the council hearing a few weeks ago, and I would encourage, when many of the same folks here were able to speak at much greater length, and I learned so much about what the city's doing and the observations you're making, and I would encourage anybody to go on YouTube and the Brockton channels, and I forget the date of that hearing, but you can find that hearing. There's a lot, if you really want to dive into this. One of the things I think that still needs to change is, I like to use the quick fix. And it seems to me that there's, what you might call the dispatch part of it, as to who's responsible, is there's too much passing the buck. So for example, I reported human feces at the bottom of the stairs, the Brockton train station. I have screenshots of this stuff. A month and a half later, it was finally closed, by, by utilities. I apologize, closed by the highway department. It's not a highway department issue. But initially it was referred from the health department to, the highway department, and then I think to trash and debris dumping, and then to utilities, water and sewer. Then it was assigned to the health department. Health department said, we do not do power washing now. With all due respect, and I used to work for Mayor Menino in Boston, Menino would have had someone fix it. I mean, it would have happened. So perhaps there needs to be someone with the authority there to get the other departments in line to take care of these issues. More recently, my girlfriend and I were walking, and she said, what's on the second floor of the back garage? We went up there, we saw a needle. See, quick fix that. The response I got was to call the fire department. I didn't know that was the protocol at the time for the needles, so it just seemed like bypassing, but also someone who's not motivated like me, who's just trying to make a report like a regular citizen, might feel like, oh, well, they don't want to take care of the issue. So I would suggest that if in that case, I think that report should have been transferred by the city to the fire department and not like throw it back on the citizens, so to speak. In terms of what the environment is like down there, I would argue that the main problem we have in our building is the threat of package theft. I did scare away a woman at our door the other day who should not have been there. But it's not as bad today as it used to be. It is an open question for us, what happens when the public safety center opens and the Brockton police are not across the street from us anymore. And that's the sum of the scary thought. In terms of so the folks under the bridge by me, under the Center Street Bridge, very tall gentleman there, I don't know his name, but he's always been very respectful. A woman who lives under the bridge, she's like a lot, she's never been a problem. But even the tall gentleman, he's moved, and I asked him what happened. He said someone else came along and he had to leave. In terms of School Street Bridge, I really feel that the quality has changed there. Many other people have said online, the environment feels completely different. And I would argue there that there's got to be some, not only the passion side, but also the enforcement side. And I would suggest and I guess that we have problems with the probable cause and other things like that. One suggestion I would have is that blue bikes, there are no blue bikes in Brockton. Someone has a blue bike, I think that's probable cause to have things they're doing now. Especially, so I thank you.
Thank you. I know we have how many left, we really need to limit the number of people. If you could be brief about and continue if there's anything that has not been said, so thank you.
Hi, Michelle Henson, longtime Brockton resident. I want to thank Jasmine personally, publicly, because I've learned a lot from her graciously allowing me in on the calls on Wednesday, and I would encourage anybody who wants to know about this problem to please join in on this call, because you don't know what you don't know. We have to find a space between not pointing fingers, because I can respect that, I definitely can, but we have to also find a space for accountability. We need both. When we talk about mental health, when we talk about addiction, I hear it spoken about too simplified, and I'd like to speak to you more about it, because there's a lot of people out here treating real medical issues, self-medicating, because they can't get the help from the medical community. And let me let you all not eat for a few days or a few weeks, and let your nutrient slip the building blocks of your brain, and let me see how you act. So we need to try to all work together, look a little bit deeply at the more the nuances, and try to work together. I want a partner and not be less adversarial, more partnership, and that's my commitment.
Hi, everybody. Hi, my name is Ellie Texera. I'm a longtime Brockton resident, and I'm very biased to these folks over here, just because I have worked with them in many different settings, and the work that you guys do every day is amazing. And I feel you when you say you're tired. I'm exhausted. I'm sure so many people here that work in the community day in and day out are tired of seeing the same thing. This is not something that started last year or the year before. This started years ago. Okay, during COVID, my daughter and I was, with the help of the late Dory Smith, we were feeding people under the bridge. We were giving them blankets that she was making and scarf and mask that she was making, and me and my daughter was delivering it for them. So this is something that's been going on in Brockton for years, and it has been brought to the attention of people, and some people have closed their eyes to it because they don't live in that neighborhood. They don't walk in that neighborhood. Their kids are not walking past what's going on under those bridges. So if you don't see it, it's out of sight and you don't care about it because you're only coming to the city hall on the other side of Main Street to go to your office. When you talk about you want partnership, these are your partners.
Yes.
Because we're in the community every day. We're walking in this community. You know what type of folks we have, come down to the DTA office. I am there. I will give you a tour. I work there. I worked for DHCD, that's now the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Community, and now I'm at DTA. Come visit me. I have told many of the counselors to come down and see what folks need in the city. No one has yet come down. Go down to Neighborhood Health Center and see what they're dealing with and see how you can help them. Fatherville and Mainspring, they've been doing it for years. Go down there and see what they're doing. I hope that this meeting does not just stay here and that you guys actually partner up with us. Not just people that you guys are friends with and that you guys know will tell you guys what you want to hear. None of us in here will tell you what you want to hear. We will tell you the reality of what's happening in this city. Thank you.
Thank you.
The reason why it's meeting, because if these guys don't know already, because I don't give up on too much, and, so the reason why the DBA is, so, I believe I really need to kind of keep us on time, so really, be really brief, thank you.
My name's Callie. I work at Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. I used to work at Fatherville in Mainspring. I work with these people every day. I live in this community. I am a person in recovery. I stayed in Tent City before Tent City was demolished. I was there when it got knocked down. It's not just, there's so much more that stems from all of this. We need to come together as a community. Some of these people don't want to be housed. They want to stay on the street, and we need to come together, the community, and figure out, okay, how can we accommodate that, but keep our city clean and safe. I have a child here. I'm from here. I want to see the city thrive. And I think that if we all came together and didn't just point fingers at everybody, then maybe we could make this work and everybody could be happy in the end. And if anyone has any questions, I work at the health center. My name is Callie. Feel free to come in.
Thank you.
Good evening, thank you everyone, this is community, thank you to all of you for coming. My name is Veronica, and I was born in Cape Verde, but raised in Brockton, now living in near town. But I started an organization for single moms called Victory for Families, and I'm just here as a resource. And I'm here to say that we are new in the infancy stage of everything, but I'm coming into this space to be able to be pliable, to see what the needs are, and I would love to see some of you to see how we can come into the space and offer the support you need in the areas of housing, employment, education, and things like of that sort. My population is single moms, but I'm sure there's so much more that we can do together. So I'm just kind of here as like a support for anyone that's in need.
And thank you. Yeah, I know I've had a couple folks text me saying they're still having difficulties in signing on. There's been also a couple folks who are developers. One in particular has young families in the downtown, and has received complaints about the unhoused and, the addicts and those that are going in and around the building. They can't leave they don't feel safe in leaving their building. That's a reality. I'm not for sure, Cody. It doesn't mean it's a blame, it's not, but it's a reality what I am also hearing from the business community. As a property owner, cleaning the defecation, cleaning the urination, clearing the graffiti that's on the wall. That part is important to talk about as well. And I know that mayor and city council gets both sides, all sides, right? We're doing what we can, but we're also having property and business owners that do have the one foot out the door. And that is not the end result either. So coming is really important. We're now going to take these last couple of minutes, and I think that we start with the mayor and then the councilor, and really talking about where we go from here. This is, as a couple of you have talked about, this is not the end, it's just the beginning of the conversation. So, Mayor?
Again, I want to thank you all for being here. I also want to recognize Susan DeCastro, the city council president, here, so thank you. So a lot of you have known me for a long time, right? And sorry, Father, I don't bullshit. I don't. And so at the end of the day, we have to come up with a plan. This is on cable. My kids are gonna kill me. Sorry about that, Maria. But I want to be honest about this. Like when I went to see Sandra, I mean, listen, she took a leap of faith with her money to go downtown, right? And Joe Angelo and his wife, they're downtown, and Chris Charlotte is downtown at Tampa. I mean, there's a lot of folks in the court. We could say all around the 7 wards and 28 precincts, but right now we're talking about the downtown. So we have to come up with a plan, number one, to keep these folks, right? But also, there's no reason to go and have a great coffee if you're gonna be sitting there seeing someone go to the bathroom. It's just not gonna go, right? So that's why Chief Perez is extremely important. That's why Megan Bridges, our solicitor, is important, because we have to come up with a plan that's gonna accommodate, number one, the humanitarian approach, but also a taxpayer approach. If you're paying taxes, you have an expectation, number one, of a quality of life. And it has to happen here in Brockton. And so we can all agree to disagree on certain things, but at the end of the day, we all love Brockton. That's why we're here. And so the police are ramping up. The conversation we have with the DA today is a lot of times, and I want to thank Derek Salamone and Will Schleeman and the police department, because we had a great meeting in Mary's office with Chris Cooney. And a lot of things that are happening right now, if they bring in someone right now to district court, the district court clerks are gonna say, is he or she physically capable to be heard before a judge? Or are they too ill? If they're too ill, and many times they say too ill, they ship them right to Good Sam, and then the police have to be there for hours at a time. It's taking police off the streets, but it just doesn't make sense. The system's broken, John, like you said. So I can tell you that, I'm here to listen with any plans. I also think best practices. I also just want to quell this misnomer that Mayor Wu in Boston is shipping everybody to Brockton. It's just not true. These folks, some of them from Boston, Pine Street Inn, some of them from Quincy, some of them from Haverhill, some of them from Pittsburgh and Lowell and Lawrence. So I just want to kind of quell that, because I keep hearing that they're all from Boston. They're not all from Boston. But regardless of where they're from, they're in Brockton right now. So we have to figure out how to help these people, but we also have to make sure that when you drive downtown, and I want to thank Ellie for saying that. I mean, I live on the west side. I drive to Court Street every day, and then I drive around the city, and I do it all weekend, and I bother all these people over here every weekend, because I take pictures and I call them and I say, this is unacceptable. So we, as a city, have an expectation for excellence, right? We're the city champion. But right now, what we need to do is we need to figure out and leverage the experience of the health clinician, the substance abuse expert, clergy, and ultimately, if you see something, say something. And I want to appreciate Jen. I mean, we have a lot of friends in common, Mike Flaherty and the like in Boston. And if C-Click Fix is broken and I'm the mayor right now, I have to make sure, I have a duty to make sure the thing gets fixed. And passing the buck is unacceptable under my administration. So we'll have another meeting tomorrow, department heads, to figure out what's going on. But I also want to thank Jeff, the city council, because in the past there's been this fracture. City council here, mayor here, school committee. We're not doing that now. We're all working together, and we have to continue to work together, or Brockton will not continue to go on the right trajectory. Yeah, one thing I am gonna say, and I'm gonna pledge right now, and I'm gonna humbly ask all of you to join me. You know what the point in time count is? But I didn't know until they came there. In January, across the country, every city and town goes out and you count the homeless population. And I did it last January. We need more people to do that. We need to do it in a better way. But there's a census number, and I'm gonna let Jasmine talk about this, because we've looked at tiny houses, we've looked at everything that's gonna maybe help Brockton.
Currently, we are working on creating a census of our population that is unhoused. This will allow us to get demographic information, total numbers of people, get an idea of what medical, mental health, and substance use issues we're gonna be seeing, and also let us know what gaps in services we currently have. It also allows us to complete wellness checks, be able to make sure people are safe as we go through the winter, or if people move their campsites. It'll allow us to realize what people are missing, what people we need to check in on more regularly. It'll allow us to just make sure that no one is slipping through the cracks and that people aren't being forgotten as we go through the process of seeing, what agencies are able to best serve each individual person. The point in time count, when I was at Father Bill's, I did help with that process. I continue to help with that process. We go out and we do a similar process where we count anyone that's still outside on that specific evening. It gets added to the total number of people in shelters, hospitals, and other programs that report being homeless. The number is usually lower than it actually is, so it's not entirely accurate, but it gives us an idea of, like I said, what services still need to be implemented in the different cities and towns in Massachusetts. So these are things that we're gonna be continuing to do going forward, and we're looking into other options with our law department as far as humane ways to address some of the issues we're having, so that we're keeping things clean and people are safe and getting the services they need. But they're also being held accountable if they're doing things that are illegal or putting people in harm's way. There has to be a middle ground, and I have business cards that are available here tonight. If anyone ever wants to reach out and talk to me about ideas they have, I can share the information for our homeless task force with anyone that's interested in attending. We do different presentations on some of them. We talk about the things that we're seeing, and people just get a chance to kind of get a better idea of exactly what all of our agencies do and how we partner. I'd love to talk to more people about that. There's people here tonight that I can honestly say I wouldn't have heard from otherwise. So please don't be a stranger. Make sure that you reach out to our office.
Thank you. Thank you everyone again, for joining us tonight. It's a great conversation. And honestly, the more I listen to people that have experience in this area, the more I feel hopeful about the future and about our ability to, get our hands around the situation and, try to mitigate the problems that we have downtown and just turn the needle, right? We can just make a 1, 2, 3 degree turn to the right. I think that will compound itself into better outcomes. So again, everybody, we appreciate your time here. We talk about resources, I think, the conversation has to lead to an action plan. What can we do in a short time to try to turn the ship to the right? And some of those things that we've been discussing, potentially a downtown bathroom or something, we have issues regarding, feces and urine and all of that, people exposing themselves. Maybe there's a downtown bathroom, or two, and not something super expensive. I know we're looking into that, but maybe that's a short-term fix to allow people the dignity to go to the bathroom, without exposing themselves and putting a burden on our businesses of having people come in and ask to use their bathroom. So, additionally, joining the conversation about the MBTA and declaring, our bridges as private property, I think that could help, clean out our bridges. I don't think there's, our bridges are, I'd say, the most painfully obvious aspect of this problem. The congregation down to the bridges and the recent violence that we've had under our bridges is scaring people, and rightfully so. And so I think we need to focus on what we can do. And if the MBTA allows us to turn this into, declares it private property, then we'll have more, more authority to clear out our bridges. So I think that's something that we as a city, both, in our state delegation, really have to lock down and find a path forward there. If we can, I know, Pat, we're having trouble with, our refuse and our manning of our refuse, but, if we could somehow provide additional resources to clean downtown, I think that would go a long way just to kind of change the perception of downtown. And so we need to put, I think, try to hire additional cleaning services downtown. I think, Chief, you mentioned the roadway ordinance, that's something that I sponsored, and I believe will be heard in front of the ordinance committee next week. I asked everybody to, tune into that conversation and follow our progress on trying to develop a roadway ordinance that would essentially, make it unlawful to have somebody come into the middle of the roadway, whether it's panhandling or just being careless and not using the pedestrian accesses that we have throughout the city. So hopefully that could go a long way to addressing that issue. One of the things we could talk about is, the creation of more affordable housing. Brockton, I believe, is carrying more of this load in the development of affordable housing downtown. I think other communities in the area have to step up and also create more housing. This is a supply and demand issue, and we're woefully short in supply. And so Brockton's going to continue to build housing to try to alleviate the stress that we have on our housing issue. But we can't be the only population doing that, or the only city doing that. We have to have more cities and towns invested in creating additional affordable housing. I think maybe we can look at programs, and I know, Pastor Roberto, you are operating a program that provides work for our homeless population or our mentally ill population. I believe there's nothing that helps the person feel better about themselves than the dignity of work. And so we could create programs to maybe provide work for those who have the ability to do so, that can put them on a pathway to mental health. And hopefully that will compound itself and, they would be in a much better position. So, some ideas, I'm willing always to listen to more ideas. But like I said, they're continuing having this conversation. I really feel, better about our future. I believe that everybody in this room is professional. They care deeply about the city of Brockton. And if we do work together, we will start, changing the momentum and changing the dynamic downtown. And then hopefully that will just keep building and building until we find ourselves in a much, much better situation. So again, thank you all for being here tonight.
I'm not quite sure if anyone thought that we were ever going to end at 7:30 and ahead of schedule. But I think what's really important is that the conversations began. This could have been really, truly, conversation that takes weeks and needs to take weeks. The human lives, the work that public servants are doing, the business community that is continuing to stay here and look for ways to work with the city to stay here. I had provided for some of you there, we will have all of this on the DBA's website along with the recording. It's about how to get engaged with your community. You can't sit on the sidelines, you just can't. Cindy, what you said, right? You took a risk on the city and you're here. I'm a girl from Chicopee, we have thought that. I'm a girl from Chicopee, that I'm here and I'm not leaving. But we need more of all of you to come step up. And the fact that you're here today in person and online. But there's also transit-oriented development. There was a beautiful article in the Enterprise about the corner of the Center Street, the residents, right? There's more residents that are here. People are investing, like Ed Carmen and others. I know Jason Ford was on the Zoom as well. But it's also talking about 1,000. There was an article from earlier in the year about over 1,000 students in the Brockton Public School System are homeless. If that doesn't stop you when you're trapped, just before the meeting, I had to do a quick walk with my daughter's dog, and I am freezing out there. I am freezing out there. I am freezing out there. I have resources, and I am privileged. Think just for a second about that. So let's work with the businesses that are here. Mass dropped, 76,000 residents from subsidized insurance, right? I don't know. I mean, there's all of these articles and all you have to do is what do we do? This is a start. We'll look forward. The next steps, what do we expect? This is always before you walk away. Conversations will still happen. Please sign that sign-in sheet. That is a way of communicating with all of us. John, yes, you do. We brought you up for doing that. But please sign that sign-in sheet. We'll have that newsletter. We'll stay informed. Whatever information that is shared with me, by way of the mayor's office, the counselor, the state legislator, we will share that. We're a conduit for doing that, particularly for the residents that continue to be here. So I now mean it's officially past 7:30. I thank all of you and all of you online, and have a good evening.